Hello, my name is Munir Amastha, and today I wanted to make a video on the DJM 900 Nexus 2, which is a mixer I bought and been using it now for a few months. And I'm gonna go into detail on certain aspects that made me actually purchase this. By the way, this video is just for DJs, so if you're not a DJ, I'm not really sure if you're gonna really dig it. There's a lot of videos out there, but I wanted to make one on some of the things that I didn't find out there, and it was one of the reasons I bought it, but I didn't really know what to expect. You know, there were just possibilities. So now that I've played with it for some time, and I wanted to show you guys that, just in case you were in my position where you liked like the functions, like for example the digital send and return, but there weren't a lot of people explaining what you can do with it. I wanted to quickly explain the digital send and return, which basically you plug this cable to your iPad or your iPhone. I tried it with Android. It didn't really work. I don't know if it's because I have an older model. Maybe with a newer model it'll work. I gotta test that. But with iPhones and iPads, it definitely works. And essentially, there's an app from Pioneer called the RMX 1000, and there are videos on that. When they plug it to the iPad, you can use it, but that's this machine. It's way better to use this machine if you already have it. So for me, it was not interesting to use that app. Even though I have it, it's not interesting because hands-on, there's nothing better. But there are apps developed for the iPad, which are even better because they're developed specifically for the iPad. That they're not like hardware transferred to the iPad. They're apps where you can use your fingers that you can use on this mixer, and one of them, for example, is Tornado, and that's what I was using in the video. But there's a number of apps that you can use, and on top of that, you can combine those effects with your internal effects from your mixer and your color effects. You cannot combine it with your external effects. You have to choose between digital send and return and your hardware send and return. But if you go digital, you can combine it with your internal effects from the mixer, and in my case, with tractor effects as well. Explain the aux and insert here. One thing you can do is actually route music directly from your iPad. Let's say your iTunes or your Spotify or anything like that. Just with this cable, you can run your music. All you have to do is, if you hit play, there you have it. But problem with this though, if you notice, the signal is clipping here, and you don't have any controls over that. Your gain here doesn't work, your EQs don't work, your effects don't work, nothing works. Like the only thing that works is your volume here. Look, absolutely nothing changes when I move that. One thing you can do is control the gain of the effect, which will lower the volume right here. But now you're not clipping anymore, but it's kind of silly to use it like that. If you, like, let's say if you're in a situation where you play a track from your iPad and you want to mix into it, you would have no controls using that, just volume. Now if you run it into return aux, now that's a different story, because now whichever channel in the mixer that you hit return aux, that's where you're gonna send your signal through. And for example, in this case I'm sending it through channel 1, but let's say I can send it channel 4. And if I do it like that, then I do have controls over my my EQs, and I have effects. So that's kind of cool. The way I use the return aux, although it's to layer these two machines. So let's say I'm affecting channel 4, right? But if I put it in return aux here in channel 1, it's almost like layering that effect. So the effect's not going to be heard on top of the track on channel 4, but it's going to be layered on channel 1. It's kind of like a send on Ableton. It kind of works kind of similar to that. Also, another thing I like to use it if I'm using like the Core K oscillator or any synths on the iPad, then I also send it through the return aux, because that way I have control over my EQs and effects on the iPad, on the particular synth that I'm using. So that's the best way of using that. I really looked into a lot of mixers out there. I really took my time and did a lot of research, and I finally decided on this one. And I truly believe this is one of the best mixers in the world out there right now. I narrowed it down to 3 mixers, and those were the Allen & Heath Zone DB4, the Rane MP 2015, and this mixer. Some other mixers were also good that I looked into it. Some of them they play differently from Richie Houghton, which he teamed up with Allen & Heath to release this mixer. It's a 6-channel mixer. It's a great mixer. Along with the DJM 1000 from Pioneer, I also like that mixer because it's a 6-channel mixer, and I really want to have more channels. But the Play Differently, I think it's a mixer mainly for techno and minimal people. It's Allen & Heath. For me, the problem that I had with because there was a period in my life where I switched completely to Allen & Heath. I got the Zone 3D, but eventually I switched back to Pioneer because I couldn't use the external effects from Pioneer properly with Allen & Heath. Even though there's ways around it, it's just too complex. So I decided to go back to Pioneer. With Play Differently, obviously I didn't get the mixer to test with this, but I'm assuming it's the same routing internally, and so for me and what I'm doing and the gear I'm using, it was not convenient. The Model 1 mixer, it's a full analog mixer, which is a great mixer if you are playing vinyl, which in my case I'm using the D2 controllers from Tractor, which is a digital format. So it's not the best. That's one reason this mixer is so great, because I'm playing directly from the audio card, my source file, and it sounds amazing compared to other, like for example my DJM 800. The difference is very significant, especially when I'm playing, let's say, a track that doesn't have good sound quality. With this mixer you can detect that immediately. With that other mixer, if it's a track that doesn't have the best sound quality, and then I'm mixing it with a track that has good sound quality, the difference was less notable. With this mixer, you have to play tracks that have good quality. Otherwise, you will detect, at least I can detect it. So, if you're doing digital, if you're playing from a USB drive, if you're playing CDJs, if you're playing anything from a computer, even if you're playing vinyl using MP3s or WAV files, that's digital format, because your source is digital. So even if you're using Tractor Scratch or Serato with vinyl, that's not a real analog signal. Even though you're converting it from digital to analog, the source is digital, guys. So you're better off having the least amount of loss in quality. So it's way better to go all digital if you're using any type of digital format to play as your source, such as MP3s. So that's one reason I didn't go with the Model 1. But if even if you're doing CDJs and you're really heavily into techno and minimal, I still think the Model 1, the way it's designed, is better for that particular style. Now the other mixer that I have to mention here that I considered, and I considered for a long time, I wanted to get the mixer back in the day, but I never did, was the DJM 2000 from Pioneer. That's a good mixer, but the problem with that mixer is that it has an EFX unit built in the top, and you cannot combine it with your send and receive effects. So I couldn't combine it with this unit. I have to choose either or. So for me, it's a no-brainer not to select that mixer. So the three mixers that it came down to was the Allen Heath Zone DB4, which is a complex mixer. It's a beautiful mixer. It's a hybrid between analog and digital. If you get that mixer, or if you already have that mixer, you're set. But the one thing that deterred me from it was the ability to use these two machines with that mixer. There's a trick that you can use to use it, but it's not convenient, guys. It's a hassle to use the DB4 with the external effects from Pioneer. However, the mixer is very customizable, so it's a great piece. Now the other mixer, so basically I narrowed it down to two, which was the Rane MP 2015 and this mixer, and that was a tough choice because the Rane MP 2015, it's an amazing mixer, and it has also dual audio card just like this one, which is great for my particular style because I now can connect a laptop to, let's say, Tractor and the other one to Ableton. This is meant also for DJs that are playing in a club and they're switching, and let's say they're both using laptops. Now switching from one DJ to another is easy, where let's say your channel 1 and 2 you have it in A, which is audio card A, and let's say channel 3 and 4 you put it in B, and so then the DJ that's coming after you can easily switch. Before, with mixers that had one audio card like the DJM 900 Nexus, it's a bit more difficult. You can't really do that. So the Rane MP 2015 and this mixer you can, and as I was saying, for me, I can now have a channel or 2 or 3 or whatever in Ableton and the other one's in Tractor, so I can have 2 laptops connected. So the decision between the Rane MP 2015 and the DJM 900 Nexus 2, it was a difficult one because the Rane MP 2015 does work flawlessly with Pioneer external effects. I've tested that before, not in that particular mixer, but on other Rane mixers, and it works just as if it was a Pioneer mixer. That mixer I think has an even higher quality than this one. On paper, this is one of the best mixers in the world, sound quality wise, but there was a guy that was comparing it back to back on sound quality, and he said that at least on vinyl, the Rane has better sound quality than this one. But the sound quality on this one is it's amazing. It's an amazing upgrade from in my case, the DJM 800, or from other mixers that I heard out there. The other thing about the Rane MP 2015 is that it's an all rotatory mixer. So if you're into mixing house music or anything deep house, deep tech, where subtle changes in the bass matter, it's rotatory. There's something about mixing with a rotatory mixer that is great. The only downside of that mixer that was turning me off was that it had a 5th channel designed for effects, where you can send, it's almost like sending a bus to that channel for combining effects, which it's convenient, but not so much. I mean, with the return aux in this mixer, you can do something similar. It doesn't work the same way, but it's something similar. But for what I like to do with effects, I like to put independent effects on channels. And lately I've been experimenting with a technique, and I have a video on that called Inside Friends. So if you want to check that out, there I'm showcasing that technique. But essentially what I was doing is I was breaking down my stems. Instead of breaking it down in these machines, these machines are supposed to break tracks into stems. Instead of doing that into native instruments, I was transferring that into my mixer. So I was having my stems broken down in my mixer, which is not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to break your stems here, like you have, let's say, 4 channels here for your stems, and it goes routed into 1 channel. Instead of that, I was routing it into my 4 channels. So like that, now I could use independent effects, Pioneer effects, also combined with Tractor effects, my external effects in combination with internal effects. With this mixer you can do that on, let's say, only the vocals, you know, or let's say only the synths. In that video I was using a DJM 800. It's my last video with that mixer. With this mixer I have a lot more control of my effects, because in that mixer all I could do is use the combination of these 2 machines with limited color effects. This machine has a lot more color effects, and it also I can also use my internal effects. With the DJM 800 I had to choose between internal or external. With this machine you can combine it, and the internal effects of this machine is complex. It can break down things into frequency. You have here your beat effect. It's great. It's great to combine it with other effects. So for me, that's what made me go with this mixer, in the addition of a digital send and return, which is something unique to this mixer. There's a number of apps that are going to be coming in the future where you could use your iPad to affect your input signal. So in conclusion, the Rane MP 2015 mixer, if you have it or you're thinking of buying it, you know, I wouldn't mind if I have the extra cash in the future. I wouldn't mind pushing the trigger on that mixer. I'm always trying to change things, so that's another reason I liked would have liked to go with the Rane mixer, because it's a completely different setup than the Pioneer mixer. I've been using Pioneer for a very long time. I don't regret getting this mixer at all. I think I made the right choice for my particular style, but I also think that the Rane MP 2015 is one of the best mixers in the world, along with this one out there right now. So I hope this helped clear up some of your doubts, and if you're looking to upgrade, this is a good option, guys. I'm really happy with this machine and with what Pioneer did with it. Thank you. Until next time.